But I think there are more false teachings that are less, it's seemingly less serious. It's not an utter denial of these major doctrines, but they are worldview related. It is prioritization. It is subtle. I mean, at the root of it, you have about 40, 50 years ago, the controversy between free grace versus lordship salvation. Pastor John MacArthur had fought for the Bible's interpretation and teaching on lordship salvation, that yes, we are saved by grace through faith in Jesus, but our obedience to Christ is essential. This is what Jesus demands of his people as a response to faith in him, as a response to his love, because of our love for him, because we are born again, and so on. But underneath that, in the modern world, in the West, life is very complex. We live in a very complex world, and there are a lot of ideas that often are not only spoken in media and social media and by our neighbors and people around us, but also that are subtle, underlying values. These are the meta-narratives. These are the underlying values that gear our decision-making almost in an invisible way. And one of them has to do with money, which is a big thing. I've been reading a book that basically revisits the factors leading up to the 2008 financial crisis, with the mortgage-backed securitization, people just investing in lending and selling investments based on these poor mortgages that were given to people that evidently did not have a good credit score. They did not have the income nor the ability to pay back their mortgages. They were paying and agreed to super high interest rates, basically being deceived. And these lenders, and then later on the investors of these mortgages, they kind of bought into the whole thing. And there were a lot of malpractices and sins, and it's not just the evil of big corporations. That's part of it in regards to particularly those in upper leadership, but it was also greed of the average person that decided to take these mortgages. It is also a greed that led to laziness and not doing their due diligence. Now, part of it, one aspect of it, they were victims, but a part of it, they were greedy. They wanted something that they're not actually supposed to have. They didn't read up on it, but then they were also preyed upon. So it's very complex. The point is that I started thinking as I was reading this book and thinking deeply about that situation, beginning on a serious level in the 2000 all the way up to 2008. And I thought, where were the pastors of churches and Christians that were facing all this at every level? Were they teaching about the problem of greed and malpractice and fidgeting with designations of investments, claiming the companies that were claiming that they were AAA and reliable as government bonds? Like, where were they? And then also talking about the fact that we need to be able to pay back our debt and not be greedy or not put our hopes in this world. Like, where were the pastors in teaching these topics?